Yeah, I know Coach said he is happy to have her back.
We'll see her coming off the bench today. Barbara, again, those 4 consecutive shutouts. What goes through a goalkeeper's mind when you've had that much continued sustained success?
To be honest, you don't really have the mindset of shooting to have a shutout in the back of your mind. You go out there and wanting to be a positive and consistent goalkeeper for your team, and she is that for Arkansas.
Vanderbilt owns the all-time series 2014-2. Arkansas did win a year ago in Nashville in overtime, 1-0. These teams met a couple of years ago in the SEC Tournament Championship, in which Vanderbilt got the win, and they had a goalie by the name of Sarah Fuller that we would come to learn a lot more about in the football ranks a couple of weeks after that matchup. Colby Hale, though, just a couple of days ago, called this matchup fascinating as far as the contrast in styles. We know how Arkansas likes to play with their aggressiveness, their pressing. Certainly, though, Vanderbilt, Kelly, a little bit different as far as the way they like to attack.
Yeah, Vanderbilt, we expect them to be one of the best defensive teams, as which they are, but they are going to look to find the space today on the field. But Arkansas is not going to give them a lot of that space, so it definitely will be a fascinating match.
First opportunity as a goal for the Razorbacks, and Pottigill finds the back of the net for the 43rd time in her career. I would say that did not take long for the Razorbacks. And that is not how the Commodores drew up the beginning of this match, to let Arkansas and Pottigill get loose for the early goal.
We just expect that of Pottigill. Coach told us earlier this week everything starts with her, and she's so good at getting her teammates involved and just being a leader out there on that field.
Goal number 6 on the season for Anna, 43rd. Remember, the school record's 44, so she has a great chance to possibly equal that later on in this match. Kelly, we talked about styles just a moment ago before that quick goal. Vanderbilt, very possession-oriented. That's harder to do when you find yourself down 1-0 so quickly.
That is very hard to do, and as the Vanderbilt coach told us earlier this week, that Arkansas is just such a organized chaos type of team, and you almost have to adapt to their style of play. But he said they are going to try to come out and do what they do, so hopefully they will come back and rebound here. I
would say this: Vanderbilt has had a flair for the dramatic late, including a match against Missouri a week ago where it looked like it was on its way to a 0-0 draw. Vanderbilt scored a couple of goals in the last 2.5 minutes. And they also scored against Auburn with 18 seconds remaining.
And same thing against their game against Georgia the other night. They came back and had a late goal and didn't quit.
Just underway from Razorback Field. Let's go back and take a look at this quick scoring opportunity. Tankersley sent it in the direction of Pottigill, able to tuck it inside that right post. One thing Colby Hale mentioned about this Vanderbilt team, he was extremely complimentary of their keeper, Sarah Wojoko, but Arkansas on the board early against her. An early chance for the Commodores. It's a Vanderbilt team that lost its SEC opener 2-1 to LSU. Since then, 2 wins, 2 draws. There's a lot of teams right in that neighborhood so far through a handful of SEC matchups. Touch on that later on when we take a look at the standings. Mackenzie Malum controls. And Tankersley will score the second for Arkansas. What a beginning for the Razorbacks. First Pottigill, now Tankersley.
Brett, those are just shots as a keeper that you just got to tell the other team good job. Those are so hard to defend. Tankersley, she does rank 3rd in the SEC in shot accuracy, but a shot like that is just so hard to stop.
Kate Devine unable to come up with that one, almost sliced or cut away from Devine. And for a Razorback team that has not been prolific in their scoring, winning a lot of 1-0 matches, boy, they've got some breathing room a couple of minutes into this match.
However, as Coach Hale also told us earlier this week, complacency is not a part of what this team consists of. They will not be complacent with 2-0, no matter how much time is left in the game.
Yeah, it was an Arkansas team that lost its first SEC match 2-0 at Mississippi State. And in the succinct words of Colby Hale, losing sucks. It could be good for you. A reminder that winning is hard. There's been nothing easy with these wins as of late. Here's a look at Colby Hale's resume in 11 seasons. But I think the one thing that has stood out to me, Kelly, is the fact it's not just the opposition not scoring. They've had so few chances and few shots.
Yeah, that is true. They do such a good job of limiting the opponent's chances, and just credit to their defense and also the offense for getting in the back of the net and preventing the other team from getting back there.
Yes, it really is a team concept. You consider the scoring. Obviously, the play of Grace Barbara has been pretty good, but I got to think that back line that has endured some injuries is also factored into just playing strong defense to give Barbara a bit of a break and not having to contend with so many shots. And there's Darren Ambrose. He's had so much success in Nashville. They were the tournament champs with the Commodores back in 2020, taking down these Razorbacks. 4 NCAA appearances, maybe on his way to a 5th. So a goal by Pottigill and Tankersley all ready for the Razorbacks. They might be wearing these new uniforms more often. There's some scoring, there's some goals in the innings. Kelly, we've already had a couple of goals, but I'll let you give us your keys to the matchup for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, so I think Arkansas, as they've shown us just in these first few minutes, they just need to be themselves as they have been doing. Apply that high pressure, play scrappy, just like that second goal we saw. They have to force Vanderbilt to make mistakes, and when Arkansas plays their game, it's so hard for their opponents to keep up.
Thought Flynn might have a chance to make a run as that ball trickled away from her and headed away by the Commodores briefly. Where the Hogs would love a quick third goal. Not to get greedy, right? You want that first one, then you get to the position where there's a second quick score. And obviously the Commodores need to turn things around, but here's your keys, Kelly, for Vanderbilt this afternoon.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for them is going to have to be finding that space to play into and finish the chances when we get them. Like we said, we're just a few minutes in, and they've had very limited opportunities, so Vandy has to find that space, get the numbers forward, and create those chances, especially in this first half.
Kate Devine laid out to keep that one from kicking away. So again, Vanderbilt, they've had some success late in matches in some do-or-die positions. You got to believe their feeling is they need to be the next team to score. Arkansas coming off that win Thursday, their first win in program history in Gainesville. Tankersley thought she might have a chance. Devine coming off her line, she got there just in time, and that feels like a bit of a do-or-die play. Tankersley with her 4th goal. Pottigill had number 6. See our official, the referee Shane Butler. Again, Colby Hale talked about that win in Florida, and he said, you know, we don't play the Gators every year. They don't play in Gainesville very often, but it was program history. Just really wants this team to continue to get better every day. I know that's coach speak. I think you can sense that, Kelly, with this year's team, coming off the fact that they lost so many talented scorers a year ago. Maybe a chance for the Commodores, but a whistle instead. even though the Hogs were able to return an Ellie Pottigill from injury or Di Filippo, the volume of talent that was in this program for several years is one that I still think, if not they're conscious of trying to replace, you still need to find those handful of individuals who can pick up some of the slack from those veterans that moved on to the professional ranks. There's Reagan Kelly, fifth-year senior, providing Vanderbilt a lot of experience as well. Commodores still looking for their first shot. Barbara had that one spin around her feet on the effort from Brighton. She just about put some spin on that one.
Yeah, I talked about this earlier, how Vandy's not afraid to take shots when they can get them from outside the box, so Barbara is definitely going to have to be ready on her line today.
Is this a bit of a helpless feeling when that ball doesn't land up in your hands cleanly and starts to bounce away?
Yes, it is, but thankfully you saw some of the Arkansas players run back and ready to help her if she needed to help to clear that second ball.
4 straight shutouts for Grace, equaling what Katie Lund did back in 2019. There's Bree Hunter. Injured early in the year at St. Louis. We thought we might see her back around that Texas A&M match at the earliest. Able to get some minutes last week, and Colby Hale said we had to move on and she has to earn her spot back, and then he quickly added we know she has the ability and talent to do so, but this is almost like hitting the waiver wire or acquiring a player by trade in the middle of the season to get somebody of her experience and her talent back off injury.
I think it also just speaks to the depth that Arkansas has on the bench. When a player like Brianna Hunter gets hurt, to be able to have the talent, like you say, to pull in and step up to the plate speaks volumes about that team.
Grace Barbara known for her leg strength as she sends one downfield. Sent backwards towards Barbara to let her take another big swing. That took a shot off Cutshaw. Bree Hunter wore that one, ricocheting off her shoulder, maybe her cheek, propelling out of bounds. Colby Hale's team had that stretch on the road where they tied BYU 3 apiece in a hostile environment, went to Grand Canyon, scored 3 goals in the heat of Phoenix before they lost their first conference matchup at Mississippi State, and that was one I think was a bit of a blow because of all of the experience Arkansas had enjoyed in recent seasons. It's Cutshaw again, who got up slowly. I would say, though, they have responded in no short order with those 4 straight wins. This is Ella Schamberger, another one of the 5th-year athletes for the Commodores. She had that goal with about 30 seconds left against Auburn a couple of weeks ago.
Coach spoke very highly of Ella earlier this week, saying she's been a captain the last 3 years, and off the field, she's one of the most calm players there is, but she's a fearless leader on this team.
That's why this Commodore team 8-1-3. 3 5th-year seniors. They have 3 graduate students, a couple of transfers as well. Commodores would love to find a way to get on the board. Headed multiple times away by the Hawks. And Arkansas will take over possession. Always some atmosphere here at Razorback Field. I would say, Kelly, the crowds have been amazing when Arkansas has had just a normal start time here in these last several weeks, if not months.
It's pretty cool to see. This used to be what we would call, back in my day when I played here, a Friday night crowd, but it's so cool to see how the fans have really come out to support the team even on a Sunday afternoon.
There are fans Seated behind the goal, you see the new seats inside Razorback Field, enjoying the luxury of not being on the bench. So many families and fans seated on the berm beyond the Razorback sideline. Those bleachers well populated today as well. Got to squeeze in today. Certainly speaks to what has been a tremendous home field advantage that has continued to build. I don't get the sense, Kelly, that's going away anytime soon.
No, it's not. And even when I had talked to Coach Ambrose about coming to play at Arkansas, he said, he kind of chuckled and said our team is used to it. It's the SEC. Every team is tough, but we do know that Arkansas is going to challenge us emotionally and physically.
DiFilippo tried to head that one in, but it went up in the air and grabbed by Devine. Just to finish that thought, Arkansas 53-9-2 at home going back to 2016. And I think any team can prepare for being on the road in the SEC. There aren't any easy matches. But I don't think you drop a 2-0 deficit in the first couple of minutes for your game plan, because the challenge only gets deeper from that point.
That is very true. And Coach Ambrose, again, talked about how proud he is of his team, of their fight and their heart, and that is one of his favorite things about them, is they don't give up.
Talking about this Vanderbilt team being a little more possession-oriented, even though they've scored 28 goals this year. Do they need to be a little more aggressive here in this first half to try and be the next team to score, make this 2-1 rather than risk falling behind 3-0?
I do, and I think that's where Coach Ambrose said that they really do play the full 90, so they're going to have to continue to step up the plate here.
I did ask Colby Hale a couple of weeks ago if he finds himself coaching differently because he's been in so many 1-0 matches. And he thought about it for a few seconds, and he said, sometimes from a game plan standpoint, we have to be a little more deliberate. We have to explain things. We have to talk to our athletes rather than having so many alpha individuals and leaders on last year's team. Not necessarily going back to the basics, but maybe not taking things for granted. DiFilippo had that one deflected away, and yet it was trending towards that post. And a diving stop by the keeper, Devine, just outside of the far post. But I will say last year it did feel like, Kelly, this team could continue their aggressiveness when it's 2-0 and 3-0. If they made a mistake and gave up a goal, the outcome of the match wasn't really in doubt. I don't know if you have that same luxury for all of these 1-0 matches, and yet Arkansas has found a way to continue to get the wins.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think that just speaks to the level of competition and the level that Coach Hale has instilled into these players.
Settling in just a bit here in our first half. 4 shots for the Razorbacks, 1 for the Commodores. Again, these teams last year had to play to overtime before Arkansas got the goal for a 1-0 win in Nashville. No longer overtime in the college soccer regular season. Are you ready for the postseason when we're going to have multiple overtimes regardless?
I am. I hate ending in a tie, and I know these players do as well. So I know that it's almost more frustrating than anything. They'd probably rather play overtime, even though it requires more recovery for the next game. But I know they would rather have a result.
Being the multi-sports guy that I am, I'm going to have a hard time if there's a goal early in overtime and they continue to play without that sudden death component. Schamberger again with the kick. Headed away by Franklin. Arkansas able to win the possession. And maybe now the speed of Pottigill comes into play. She does have a different gear, right, from a speed component than most of the players?
Oh, she does. And just her physicality as a whole, you see her going for every ball, whether it's about to go out of bounds or whether she's about to score a goal. She goes at it just as hard.
Emily Hauser about to play it in. Junior out of Cape Coral, Florida. Coach Ambrose having a discussion with our referee as well, Shane Butler. Any guess what he might be discussing at this point?
I'm not sure. I mean, it could be just due to the physicality of the game and making sure the fouls are called equally on both sides. That's just a guess, though.
Feels like a longer conversation than maybe a referee might be willing to sit through so early in a match. And there's a little gesturing of the elbow, so there was probably some conversation about the physicality.
Yep.
Coach Ambrose spent 15 years in the Ivy League. He was at Penn, so we talk about Grace Barbara, her Ivy League experience before transferring to the SEC. Well, Coach Ambrose, no stranger to that league as well. His team last year was 5-4-1 in the SEC, so they were in second place in the conference. Talked about their tournament championship win back in 2020 at the expense of Arkansas. Football fans didn't know about Sarah Fuller until she started kicking extra points a couple of weeks later for the Vanderbilt football team.
Yeah, she was a huge, just a mentor that I looked up to as a former collegiate keeper. Pretty cool to see.
She was about a year too late for NIL. She might have made a killing.
Oh, she could have, for sure.
Arkansas with a couple of early goals in this match. First Pottage, then Tankersley, challenging Kate Devine and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Physical battle as well for possession. Flynn trying to win it against Antoine. Just saw Bree Hunter on that previous heading attempt. Colby Hale did tease the fact that she could be a little more versatile than maybe just being a defender.
Yeah, as we saw in that cross, she was very close to winning that ball. I mean, she provides that height that they need to get that good service in the back of the net.
Sent forward by Ella Riley. Flint had that one just taken away by Wynn, the Georgia native. Reagan Kelly. We have it offsides. This giant post to my left will come into play a few times today, so feel free to jump in if anything happens on this quadrant. Let's take a look at the offsides.
It's a great run by Reagan Kelly. Unfortunate to be offsides there.
Empty goal, but cleared by the Commodores. Fans started to get excited for just that brief moment.
Yeah, I think that was a bold move for Kate Devine to come off her line. She seemed hesitant, but somewhat confident at the same time. I would have expected her to go down a little more, a little earlier with her hands rather than her feet. But thankfully, her defenders were there to back her up.
Including Idu, the four-year starter at Cal who transferred to Vanderbilt. One of those 3 fifth-year seniors, 3 graduate students I mentioned on this experienced Vanderbilt roster, and that one sent wide to the far post. Arkansas has pushed the pace even more in the last couple of minutes. Wagner and Kelly trying to get a look on goal for the Commodores. Just one shot to this point for Vanderbilt. Maybe a chance here. Barbara far off her line, and That's something we've seen her do time and time again. Very athletic, very quick to respond.
Yes, very athletic is just a great way to describe Grace Barber as a whole. She knows her positioning, she knows where she needs to be, and she's also got a great foot to put Arkansas in an opposing attacking position.
I would say Colby Hale said it's a formula that has really worked for his program, that graduate transfer goalie. Whether it was Warner, whether it was Lund, bringing in somebody with the ability that maybe that hasn't played in this conference, but certainly seems to have the skill set to play in the SEC. Substitution time. Speaking of speed, Ainsley Erzin in, Bree Hunter out. We'll see how Colby Hale manages the minutes of Bree Hunter as she works her way back in. Meanwhile, Maddie Baker in for the Commodores. Maddie Baker had her first college goal against Mizzou with about 2 minutes left, and one of the strangest goals I've seen, and I haven't seen as many as you. But Missouri was trying to clear, and the swing of the leg deflected off her leg and propelled backwards into the goal for the first goal with a couple of minutes.
Yeah, those are just so unfortunate, and sometimes it just happens.
Sent forward by Kate Devine, Tennessee native. There are not many Tennessee natives on this team. They have recruited California and Georgia, really spreading their reach far and wide for an outstanding academic school in this outstanding conference. "22 minutes to play in this first half. The Razorbacks with a couple of goals in the bank already. Another offsides for Vanderbilt. Is that a measure of them trying to just get some runs against the Razorbacks?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're just trying to get the ball forward, and they're tired of having it on their side of the field, so they're trying to find that space and hoping and praying that their players are up there.
Good look at Amber Wynn, one of the Georgia natives. Going down hard was Peyton Cutshaw. We've seen her down on the field 2 or 3 times to this point. Her 2019 season, by the way, ended in injury against Arkansas. So maybe some flashbacks for Peyton Cutshaw, the 5th-year athlete. She's played several times against the Razorbacks. That 2019 match was probably not one that she remembers fondly for the humble Texas native. She's from your neck of the woods.
Yep, right outside Houston.
Still plenty of time for the Commodores even in this first half. Maybe some of that shell shock wearing off, and that was a hard foul by Shayna Flynn, UCLA transfer. Talked about some of the transfers into Vanderbilt, but Flynn, one of those coming from a Power 5 program, UCLA to Arkansas, and there was a little physical nature to that push, if you will, against Idu. Softly headed right towards Grace Barber. Colby Hale said they felt like by watching Grace's tape, they knew she could compete at this level. And then you tell an athlete, you have a chance to come in here and win a job. And I think that's what any transfer wants to hear. There may be some transfers that would want to hear that, you know, they have a role, but I think you realize in a position that important, you're going to have to come in and still find a way to win it.
Yeah, and even on Colby Hale's, I mean, he tells that to every player. Your spot is earned, not given.
I think that goes back to Bree Hunter, right? With all of her success, telling her coming back off injury, you still have to earn your spot. You still have to go out and produce on the field. Poke backwards in the direction of Devine. It's a Vanderbilt team that all time has defeated 23 ranked teams, going up against this 9th ranked Arkansas squad today. Of those 23 ranked wins, 15 have come under head coach Darren Ambrose. And I believe their last ranked win was against this Arkansas program. Here's Antoine, the Ontario Canada native. She and Flynn know each other, both from Ontario.
Coach Ambrose also spoke very highly of her and saying that she is one of the players on his team that leads by example. And you know exactly what you're going to get from her every single day.
Still maybe a chance for the Commodores. Cleared by the Razorbacks. Tracked down by Antoine briefly. Competing against Tankersley. Brighton had it knocked away by Erzin. Here's a chance to see that speed from Pottigill. Defended by Schamberger. Pottigill finds that second gear. Erzin was there hoping she might have a chance to put that one on target. And that one too tall for Ainsley Erzin, and Vanderbilt will take over possession. DiFilippo will check out for the time being. Shayna Flynn also checks out for the Razorbacks. Erzin can't save for Arkansas. Back-to-back draws for the Commodores with Georgia on Thursday night. They were at Auburn and scored so late previous Friday. Final 30 seconds of that match. Felt like Auburn was going to get that win, one that they would really value before the late dramatics from Vanderbilt. And that's got to be a foul, and is on Vanderbilt and Reagan Kelly. All SEC first team a season ago was Kelly. In fact, she also had the game-winning goal against Arkansas in the SEC tournament in 2020, but I would say she got her money's worth right here. That's a hook and hold at basketball. That's a couple of shots at possession. I'm sure for Kate Devine, this was not the way she dreamed up the beginning of this match when Pottigill and Tankersley both scored. You start to settle in after maybe a couple of early goals in several minutes.
Yeah, I definitely don't think she imagined the game being 2-0 that early on, but as Coach said, she continues to fight, and she's an amazing shot stopper. We saw that on Thursday night against Georgia.
Win with the strike, but well over the crossbar now. Might equate it to a baseball pitcher that gives up 3 or 4 runs in the first inning. Your goal is to get deep into the contest, and you know you're running uphill from that point, but you almost have to recalibrate, hope to get a little success and build off that moving forward so that, you know, that beginning of the game or match doesn't overwhelm you. Tankersley, I believe, heading to the shadows. It's not exactly excessively warm at mid-70s, but does feel like a nice fall day. I would say coming from 40 degrees this morning in Detroit, for me it feels pretty nice.
I was going to say, this is actually perfect ideal soccer weather.
Yeah, but you're from Houston.
I know,
There
but
might be a few people that want it a little bit cooler, but not us. We like heat. We specialize in heat.
that is true.
Starting to see a few more bodies on the deck in the last 10 minutes of this match. Inside 13 minutes in our first half. Coach Ambrose up with a few animated words of discussion. Headed forward and just missed. The Razorbacks so close maybe to getting their third. And B. Franklin, all three of her career goals have been headers. She just about got a fourth.
I said it earlier in the game, but this is where Vanderbilt has got to step up, winning these first and second balls. I know Arkansas is obviously drawing and giving some of these fouls, but it looks like Vanderbilt is just not winning these first and second balls to clear it and get it off their back line.
For Devine, how hard is it to see it? That shot off the head doesn't come that quick for you to be able to maybe sense the angle?
Absolutely, yeah. Those balls are so hard to see, especially with all the bodies and all the traffic. But thankfully, Kate Devine has such a good presence also in goal, and she's confident and can come off her line in those situations.
So another substitution for the Razorbacks. Colby Hale substituting rather freely here with about 11 minutes and change to go in our first half. Here's the next Out of Pocket with Alyssa Lang and Andrea Carter. They'll take you inside the world of SEC sports with laid-back interviews, lots of laughs, and Lang's signature passion for finding the best food the SEC has to offer. Wednesday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, over on the SEC Network and ESPN app. Ball's going to end up on the street. Up over the Razorback bench. Fortunately, we have more than one ball. That one's going to join its friend on the street. We're losing soccer balls right and left. That one's bouncing towards the high school.
Traffic stopping.
Early goals by Pottigill and Ava Tankersley for the Razorbacks for this 2-0 advantage. Hawks trying to win their 10th match of the year, and that's a nice number to build towards as we get deeper into conference play and then eventually the conference tournament postseason. Trying to go to 6-0 as well here at Razorback Field. That gets back to the home field advantage that we discussed, and Arkansas had that unusual match not that long ago with Texas A&M at home, a very good A&M team that has had all kinds of frustrations this season. Arkansas got the 1-0 win back on September the 30th. Ready for a corner kick here. Ellie Pottigill. As these fans ready and hopeful of seeing a third. Down goes Devine, and that one is wide of the post. Devine crumpled to the pitch, and all of a sudden Arkansas looked like they had a chance if they could get one by the defender of having an empty goal.
That was a great call by Kate Devine coming off her line, not being able to catch it. So instead, she decides to punch it away due to the crowd. Thankfully, the ball went just wide of the goal, but she got up quickly and was ready for that second rebound.
A lot of bodies, a lot of traffic and congestion at that spot. Send with her one with her left foot away, and there's another look at that ball maybe missing by 5 or 6 feet past the post. That's not uncommon for Arkansas to have that shot disparity with one of their opponents. We've seen with Joko and Devine for Vanderbilt. How have they kind of navigated their usage of their goalies this year? I'm sure there's multiple factors in play.
Yeah, Coach told us their keeper situation has been really interesting this year. I mean, Kate Devine obviously having a few huge opportunities.
There's another one as she got bumped by Franklin. Well, she's had some bumps and bruises and slow to get up here in this first half.
Yeah, she's a great tall goalkeeper. She's able to get above a lot of those players to catch balls like that, but it doesn't stop the other team from coming in to trying to challenge her.
Bit of a pained expression on her face.
I feel her pain.
I bet you do.
Cameraman, off the line, please.
Delaney played one forward. Pottigill trying to get to the possession again. Instead, it ends up in the Vanderbilt sideline. Nearing the 7-minute mark here in our first half from Razorback Field. Maybe a chance for the Commodores. And another offsides ends that scoring opportunity before it really got started. Those gentlemen have been busy.
In Vanderbilt's last game against Georgia, they had 2 goals that actually were called back as offside. So I know that just speaks to how hungry they are to get a goal.
No, it's a good point. It was something I noticed too, coming off the tape or the replay, that they were anxious to try and get forward and provide some punch and had those negated. In Vanderbilt's previous match, though, against Georgia, they scored early, then did not score again. And Georgia also answered to finish that one in a 1-1 draw. Ceci was in. Now she'll check out for Arkansas. McKenna Salt also on to see her first minutes. Both with the benefit of a 2-goal lead and having played on the road Thursday at Gainesville, a chance maybe to involve a number of different players in this first half. The physicality, though, of this match has started to pick up.
Yes, it has. Arkansas has 9 fouls and Vandy has 3, but you can tell the physicality is there for both teams.
Razorbacks have a player down at midfield. And that is B. Franklin. She has been a crucial component of this Arkansas roster composition. Colby Hale out as well. I didn't see what happened. Did you, Kelly?
No, I missed it.
It was away from the action. At least it seemed like it was behind the play. See if we can take a look. Well, there were bodies down right and left. Urson also took a shot. She kind of crumpled over. B. Franklin looks like she's okay. We're going to hear a little more about B at the half. She recently sat down for a hog pod, an extended interview. Play a portion of that at the half of this match. Only 4 minutes, 18 seconds away. 2-0 Razorbacks. There were probably some fans that weren't settled into their seats just yet before it was 2-0 and going to draw from that point, but nonetheless Vanderbilt still trying to find a way to get their first goal. Just 3 shots, 2 on goal to this point. I would say it does feel like one of those matches where both of these teams will be happy to get to the half. Maybe just a break for some of the bumps and bruises. Kennesaw unable to win possession. Urson came from the backside. Poked away by Reagan Swindle. Arkansas possession. I don't know if Caroline Betts agrees. Three minutes to play in our first. Margot Reemson ready to attempt the long throw in. Poke forward and cleared by the Commodores.
Arkansas is so dangerous on those set pieces. They even use those long throw-ins as situations to get the ball in the back of the net, and that is where Arkansas thrives.
Certainly gave them another scoring chance. Played forward though by Vanderbilt. Trying to see if they can get an extended run, maybe a better chance here in the first half. There's Caroline Betts, former Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Tennessee. Bends one right into the arms of Barbara.
I know Coach Hale talked about wanting to be more consistent with their set pieces and getting those good quality services in the box, and I think that was a good one just to as an example.
Yeah, that's one area you really discussed as far as that process of continuing to get better. There may be a match in conference play, if not in the postseason, where set piece might really factor into the outcome. When maybe those runs, those scoring chances, maybe not quite as prevalent against some certain keepers or defenders. Pottigill and Tankersley again providing the 2 goals to this point for the Razorbacks. Trying to continue this amazing streak in the SEC since that very first match at Mississippi State. Inside a minute in our first. Boy, a lot of deflections, a lot of balls misdirected. Easy playing to bounce for Kate Devine. Last year she started all 19 matches, part of an 8-3 season for Vanderbilt. But again, we've seen Ojoko at times as the keeper for Vanderbilt. one last chance for the Commodores, but cleared briefly by the Razorbacks, and they might not have enough time remaining for the possibility even of a look. The final few seconds ticking away here in this first half at Razorback Field, and Kelly, a strong beginning has given Arkansas this 2-0 lead.
Yeah, very strong beginning. I think Vandy's going to go into this half and take some time to clean up.
First half with a 2-goal lead, got a lot of individuals involved. Do you think he has that luxury still in the second half?
I do. I think that, again, I talked about it earlier, how much depth they have on the bench. And also it doesn't hurt to bring in fresh legs.
Zava Tankersley, one of those 2 first half goals. She's really stepped up her game to a different level. And Colby's talked about her leadership and getting in the weight room and the commitment to getting better. I think that was a natural progression, Kelly, when you mentioned the number of talented players and all-time greats that departed the program and not just left but went to the pro ranks.
Yeah, I think Goins is a huge name that we lost last year, but there were a lot of people that, followed those big names that are still here, and they learned from them, and so I think they're going to continue to try to follow in their footsteps and get the ball in the back of the net.
I think I saw the defender, Haley Van Fossen, maybe coming into the stadium earlier today as well, so that Tulsa connection still around the program. That was a long cross carrying beyond the reach of Kate Devine. From the swing of Shayna Flynn. Probably worth mentioning again, though, that Malum had those 2 assists on both of the goals, and for Pottage, it was career goal number 43 and the school record's 44. So she's chasing some pretty big individual numbers, and also as far as active players in college soccer, you see the flag come up, but she began the match with 111 points. That's 4th among active Division I players, and I got a feeling she's got a chance to keep jumping up those numbers.
Oh, I have no doubt she will continue to do so. I mean, we're only halfway through SEC play, so there's a lot of soccer to be played here.
Is this the grind portion of the year, or we've not reached that portion just yet?
Oh no, we've reached
there?
it, because at the beginning of the season you do have a lot of endurance and you're excited to play, the non-conference teams that you don't normally get to play, but now we're halfway through SEC play. Every team is so difficult and every team is so tough, so recovery is very important at this point in the season.
See all the accolades for Anna Pottage, and those numbers have to be updated frequently. One of the few times she's not moving at full speed, and there she goes at the very end. I would say, though, when you get back to this portion of the calendar, we finally got to that point, and I'll credit soccer for doing this. Volleyball has not figured this out yet. How to get back to where we were from a scheduling standpoint pre-COVID, where you're playing on Thursdays and Sundays. You might be traveling on Thursdays, home on Sundays, and this is where the back-to-back rigors really kind of take hold.
That is true. It gets them in a good rhythm.
Don't get me started on volleyball scheduling, by the way, Kelly. Just an
I
FYI.
could tell there was some bitterness there.
Set piece for the Razorbacks. Early in the year, Vanderbilt had given up just 3 goals, and 2 of those came on set pieces and corners. There's another! The Razorbacks off a set piece get the goal and a 3-0 advantage. B. Franklin, all of her goals as a Razorback have come off headers. We heard from her at the half in a Hog Pod interview, and we hear for her with her play early in the second, and the smoke comes out at Razorback Field.
Set pieces are so dangerous for Arkansas. As you can see there, they're not afraid to jump up and win those balls. And what a goal by B. Franklin.
Right by Kate Devine. And the Hawks have 3 goals for the first time since they blanked Grand Canyon in Phoenix with a 3-0 win right before conference play. It was way back on September 11th. We're a month removed from that, so the fans have been able to call the Hogs with gusto today at home. And I got to believe, Kelly, right now from a mental standpoint for the Commodores, you can't get 3 goals at once, but that is a steep ask and a half. And this is where you really don't want these next 10 or 15 minutes to completely get away from the team.
Yeah, 3-0 is a hard hole to climb out of. However, going back to what Coach Ambrose said about his team, they fight. They're not afraid to keep fighting all the way to the 90th minute. So let's hope they can do that today.
Long strike downfield. DiFilippo turned one to the far post and sent one wide. And just to finish that thought on Coach Ambrose's team, I mentioned coming into the Auburn game, Vanderbilt had allowed 3 goals all year. All 3 came on set pieces, 2 on corners. So while they have not given up many, that's been one area where teams have had a little bit of success against them.
And what a shot here by Filippo. I mean, if that would have been on frame, that would have been a tough one. That would have been a tough shot to block.
Quick whistle from Shane Butler. Colby Hale did say earlier this week, winning 1-0 doesn't bother him. You have to win however it looks, and shutouts certainly are a team thing, but he wanted his team to create more chances. And he did say, Kelly, and I thought this was interesting, scoring goals can go in waves, and I think we're seeing one of those waves come ashore today. That one handled by Barbara.
Yeah, I think we are. I think, those 1-0 wins, they might be tired of them by this point, which is why we've seen a few more goals added up today.
I don't know if you would say there's a certain randomness in goal scoring, but, you can have some shots hit the post. The next day they deflect off the post and in, or maybe the headers find the back of the net rather than ending up in the hands of the keeper. But scoring has been contagious for the Hogs. 3 different players have scored goals. We started this telecast talking about Vanderbilt and their distribution, even though one of their top scorers in Dureski out with an ACL and done for the year. And maybe that's probably worth mentioning again, Kelly, because that's a key player, a key piece that they do not have available. Another body down, another quick whistle. In fact, Dureski had a couple of game-winning goals in the first 2 games. An individual that, going back to her high school ranks, scored 122 goals in 3 years. I didn't know that was possible.
Ooh.
To be able to put up those type of numbers. And that's an individual that will not be available the remainder of this year for Vanderbilt. Coach Ambrose. We've had some stretches, though, in this match where it's been a little bit choppy. A lot of whistles, some offside, some fouls, stoppages of play.
I think from Vanderbilt, we're going to have to see some more sense of urgency when they have the ball or when they have the opportunities to get or to play these balls quickly.
That's a good point. What does that look like, though, urgency from the Vanderbilt standpoint?
I mean, honestly, they need to find feet right now. They
Yep.
need to connect passes, then find that space that I was talking about earlier.
We talked about the intriguing matchup contrast of styles between these 2 teams, pointed out by Colby Hale. And I think if you're a possession team, getting down early 1-0, then 2-0 is a bit of a blow. And all of a sudden now 3-0 early in the second half, and the task becomes that much more difficult. And you know this as well as anybody, Kelly, when it's 3-0, it's not as if Arkansas is going to back off and play a different style than they did at the very beginning.
Nope, that is very true about Arkansas. They will also play the full 90, and doesn't matter whether the score is 3-0 or 0-0.
Caroline Betts tried to make a move, and Hauser was there to disrupt and take it away. Shanna Flynn was pleading her case with the side official. She did not win the argument, however. Going to be a throw-in for Antoine. He's a second-team All-SEC performer as a defender a year ago. Also see I do the former Cal Golden Bear. Going to check out. Yanchuk in. That one is wide of the post. Scoring opportunity for the Commodores goes by the boards. Best opportunity of the match for the Doors. Wasn't a clean look, however. Commodores again have Cutshot down. She was awfully slow to get up, and now she's limping with that knee brace near midfield, trying to run off the sting. She has been battered today. Watch her go down, and boy, oh my goodness. Kelly, as someone who's dealt with a lot of concussions, you recognize that pain.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a tough fall, and definitely hope she's okay.
Wasn't prepared for that head smack on the replay. I watched her go down at the end and kind of crumple, and maybe a little bit slow to get up, but it's a pretty good visual on what happened. Three different Razorbacks have scored today. Wondering if we might see a fourth. It's been an explosion of offense for the Hawks.
One thing I love about Grace Barbara was that service that she just provided there to almost give Arkansas another chance at getting a goal. Makes a huge difference to have a keeper that has the hands and feet skills that she does.
That's really something she brings, though, from that leg strength standpoint, correct?
Absolutely. It's a huge opportunity for them.
We had a match earlier this year with Michigan State. They had one of the top keepers in the country, and in fact, Michigan State's had a couple of big wins since they left town. But you know, their keeper, despite all of the accolades and her success, just didn't have the leg strength that was contrasted with Barbara. Here's Flynn trying to get a little separation, and she was taken down as that one rolls away. Saw the Hogs score off a corner kick on the header from B. Franklin. Getting ready to dial up another one. Ellie Pottigill going to do the honors. That one well defended. Reagan Swindle comes in. Mackenzie Malum had a couple of assists. She will check out for the time being. Also see Addie Porter in for the Commodores. First game was against Providence, Asheville, North Carolina native. Tankersley with those long strides, able to poke one forward and cleared by Vanderbilt. That one was hanging dangerously outside the box. And another deflection thwarts this opportunity from Arkansas.
Very dangerous play there by Vanderbilt. When you pass back to the keeper, you have to know that the keeper will either have it or you turn and you clear it.
How about that effort from Arkansas to play it back in the other direction quickly? Tremendous speed from the other Pottigill, Ellie. Boy, for Devine, she almost got out there at no man's land. You come off that line, it's a foot race, isn't it, at some point?
Yes, no, it definitely is, and just credit to Arkansas for the speed they have up top, but Kate Devine did everything I think I would have done in that situation.
Run fast and hope for a little bit of luck.
Absolutely.
Arkansas scored early in this second half to build this 3-0 advantage. So the Hogs have outscored their opponents this year 31-5. 3 today. Ryan's going to poke it to her teammate Schamberger. Right back to Devine. Let's say if you're Colby Hale, Kelly, and you want to see your team continue to play hard, continue to compete even with a 3-0 lead, we've seen that. They're making things awfully difficult on Vanderbilt to try and get a look. Commodores have had 4 shots in the match, 2 on goal.
I think Arkansas is doing what Arkansas loves to do, to get the ball out wide, stretching the other team, which makes things incredibly difficult for Vanderbilt.
Arkansas had the benefit last year of being able to play several postseason games here at home. And Kelly, the one thing about being ranked number 9, they're in that position where they could hold serve and have that same opportunity to present itself this year.
Yeah, that would be huge. I mean, as you've seen, the atmosphere at Razorback Stadium is a big deal to them and how well they can play here at home.
I think the other part, just not going on the road during the postseason, playing a match here, but also then inviting 3 other teams to your home field and not having to get on a plane or a bus, have the comforts of home.
Yeah, and that could be one of the reasons Vanderbilt is, a little tired today. Sunday games, I'm not going to lie, they were hard, especially Sunday afternoon. Your legs are tired, you're tired, so that could be a factor here today.
That one poked high and wide, and it'll wind up rolling towards the fence. It's Ella Zimmerman, the freshman from Cumming, Georgia. Taylor Berman also in for Arkansas, replacing Jessica DiFilippo. And Jessica had that goal to Florida in the 1-0 win. Think about her season last year. She played the 9 games, had the season-ending injury. To be back after rehab, contributing in a big-time way, has to be rewarding for Jessica. I got to believe there's sometimes when you're in that rehab process, when you talked about playing those Sunday matches, when it's mind over matter, rehab might be the same thing.
Oh, it definitely is.
That'll end up out of play. Pottage-Hill, Tankersley, and Franklin, the 3 goals for the Razorbacks to this point. Probably worth mentioning, though, we're looking at the possibility, if Vanderbilt doesn't score, of a 5th straight shutout for Grace Barbara.
And Vanderbilt is currently unbeaten on the road, so that would be another huge thing for them as well.
Commodores coming into action today, 8-1-3. Vanderbilt looking for a scoring chance. Reagan Kelly, the 5th-year senior, trying to find a little bit of separation. Reagan Kelly wasn't sure she was going to come back this year. She was on her way to medical school before she decided to play one more season with the Commodores. She's got a bright future ahead of her. Tankersley gets spun down. Foul on the Commodores and Yanchuk. I think I might postpone medical school too. If I got one more chance to play.
Honestly, looking back, if I could have played 5 years, I 100% would have.
Seen more football games this year with 24-year-olds and 6th-year seniors, and I think I've lost track of the progression to this point. I think it makes it a little bit easier whether you're talking about players coming back for an extra year with these 2 programs or even grad transfers and bringing people into the programs when you have a chance to play in the SEC and, the conference tournament or the NCAAs. These two teams no strangers to the NCAA tournament. Although we do have a new destination for the conference tournament after so many years.
That is true. Pensacola, Florida. Not gonna lie though, I loved Orange Beach. But
you were a fan of Orange Beach?
I loved Orange Beach personally.
Was it the beach portion of Orange Beach that you liked, or was there something else?
Well, it wasn't really the beach. We had to use the beach as ice baths for recovery.
Is that right?
Yep. The water was so cold that Coach Hale would make us go in for recovery.
I'm not sure if that's a great idea or that seems mean. I don't know. I guess it worked.
At least it was pretty.
Indeed. So Pensacola, the new site, an area of Florida that was spared most recent hurricane. You're heading there for some hurricane relief tomorrow.
Yep, I am. Tyson Foods, the company I work for, is deploying disaster relief, so I'll be there to help out with them.
There's your Pensacola beach weather. I like that high of 80. That would work October 30th through November the 6th. All 9 games on the SEC network. Razorbacks hoping to make another deep run. 6 different winners in the past 6 years, and there's been a common theme, Kelly, over those 6 years, how deep Arkansas has gotten, but I know the Razorbacks would love to make it a 7th different team in 7 years hoisting that trophy.
Yeah, in the past 6 years, you don't see the same team holding the trophy, but as you said, Arkansas is definitely hungry to finally win and hopefully get there again this year.
A lot of action before we get towards the conference tournament, the new destination. And again, it was these Commodores who took down Arkansas in 2020. The championship game. We talked often in this match about how hard Arkansas is playing and substituting in trying to win the competition for possessions. And there's your different champions: Florida, A&M, LSU, South Carolina, the Commodores, and Tennessee last year. This is not an easy style of play to go back-to-back games when you play as hard as the Razorbacks prefer with their strategy. I don't know if there's any sport in any conference where you have a tournament where you might have had 6 different winners in 6 years.
Yeah, I think that just speaks volume to the level of competition in the SEC. And it's anyone's game. It's anyone's year. If you show up and you play, you have a chance.
The unique part, of course, many of the teams that get deep in that tournament are already on their way to the NCAA tournament. So you're playing for a championship. I think sometimes the fear, as it is in maybe baseball or softball, is you expend so much energy in that conference tournament the week before you crank it up for the tournament that really matters. Couple of early goals for the Razorbacks in the first half, a third goal early in the second. Vanderbilt continues to be in that position where shots have been tough to come by, still stuck at 4. 2 of those on goal.
Arkansas's fouls are up to 14.
Feels like a high number, doesn't it?
It is.
Delaney in pursuit, headed away by Bree Hunter. Flynn tries to win possession again. Goodness. There's a physical possession for Bree. Had her legs kind of taken out by Kelly. Kelly saying, "I'm competing for the spot." Me?
Yeah, I think Bree had a few feet on her to get over her, so just body size, I think, made a difference.
That's
there.
the universal signal to any official or referee, right? Both hands to your chest saying, "Me?" Can the Hogs get another opportunity? Up and over the crossbar. Devine started a backpedal, and I thought she might stumble, but she had enough elevation to poke one up and over.
Yeah, I think Kate Devine has the footwork to make those kind of saves. And as Coach Ambrose said earlier this week, whenever she makes a save like that, they like to say, "What a divine save."
I like it. Flynn just about coaxed one in. Well, I thought this might just clip off that top bar. Another corner try for the Razorbacks. Noisemakers everywhere here at Razorback Field. Easily handled by Devine. That was tracking right to her gloves. That wasn't exactly Devine, but she'll take it. So Vanderbilt had given up just 5 goals all year, 3 coming today to the Razorbacks. It has felt like in recent matches, Kelly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Arkansas has been in that position where maybe they've gotten a goal, feel like they're playing well defensively, certainly Barbara as well, but they're in that rare spot where one breakdown, one mistake could mean a draw. So it's hard to take that deep sigh of relief or just kind of settle in without that fear. If there's just one mistake, a well-played game can turn into a 1-0 win to a draw, but they have a little more luxury today.
Yeah, I think going back to what Coach Hale said about being complacent, he said that is not something that is even in his vocabulary. That's not something that he teaches his team. No matter what the score is, you play for the full 90, and that's just the standard.
Throw in here for the Hogs. Cleared away. It looked like Kylie Delaney was going to have a chance, and the fans were thinking about a possible 4th goal. And by the way, speaking of fans, 2,263 here today, the largest crowd of the season. Find me an empty seat.
On a Sunday afternoon, too. That's huge.
Quick note, though, we have changed jerseys and some numbers, Kelly, today. So we've had a handful, had a few. Zoe Sussy is number 3. She's been involved in several plays here recently, so just to provide a heads up. Softball's also playing a couple of exhibition games just across the parking lot. They've had a nice turnout today for a couple of contests that obviously don't count in their standings. So a lot of Razorback fans in this area here this afternoon. Pair of number 3s went down. We'll play on. I think Shane Butler's even gotten tired of calling fouls. Arkansas at 16, and he just let those two battle out. Nothing was affected by playing on. .16:30 to go in this match. Ellie Pottigill in, Reagan Swindle out.
In for the Razorbacks, number 10, Ellie Pottigill.
So Ava Tankersley back in. She had the second of the 3 goals. Anna Pottigill the first. B. Franklin the third.
Brett, I do have to say, when you talked about the largest crowd today, just being a former player here, I think the longevity of Arkansas and just the fans showing up for this team and this program is something that I'm personally so proud about after playing here in 2011 through 15. It's just so cool to see, the culture, the atmosphere, and everything that Arkansas has done. And credit to Coach Hale, because he has been consistently dominant since 2012 when he took over this program. And I think these fans are here for it. They're here to see that.
I could really see, as a former player, you take pride in the investment, not you, but all of your teammates and others that have been part of the program to kind of build to where this program continues to get better and better each season. It's going to be hard to start putting more fans in this stadium than they have today, but you can maintain that excellence. See the fans right there, up the hill, spread out. Kind of has a Bob Walker hog pen feel to it, doesn't it?
Yes,
Go out
it
there
does.
And sit down.
The lawn is kind of nice too, though, so can't complain.
Throw in for the Razorbacks. So Vanderbilt back-to-back draws before heading to Arkansas. Both of those were 1-1 matches at Auburn, at home against Georgia. Kind of feels like that type of day for Coach Ambrose. So much success in this program for so many years, and a team that also is going to have an opportunity to make a nice run in the conference tournament of the postseason. I would say for the Arkansas Razorbacks, though, Kelly, they wouldn't be human if you didn't glance at the schedule and look at that match at Alabama coming up on the 14th.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, any game against any SEC team is huge, and anyone can walk away with a win. So I know after this, they'll be preparing for that one.
I think you start to look at where they sit in the standings, and it magnifies the importance. And obviously, every match is important in conference play and beyond. But also against those teams that could be competing with for regular season championships, and that's where Arkansas has been so dominant. 3 straight SEC regular season championships, 19, 20, and 21. Wholesale substitutions as well for the Doors. Jerseys everywhere. That was a nice transition. That was just thrown in the air and caught on the way back to the sideline.
These last 10 to 15 minutes, Brett, is kind of what I talked about earlier about the level of fatigue that you experience on a Sunday afternoon, and I think you're starting to see it for both teams at this point in the game.
No, I would agree. I would probably add that both teams in that same position, so maybe doesn't favor one or the other. I think being at home on a Sunday probably helps a little bit compared to being on the road. But the Razorbacks were on the road in Gainesville this week, so both have had an opportunity to play, one at home, one on the road. Grace Barbara covers that slow roller inside 12 minutes to play. Going for her 5th consecutive shutout. I got a feeling as a goalie, knowing how hard that is to string together a shutout, let alone 2 or 3 in a row, let alone 5, that would be a badge of honor to pick up another one.
It is, and it's something definitely to be proud of. Vanderbilt's had 2 shots on goal tonight, and she's had 2 saves. But again, she's solid back there and definitely brings a lot of confidence to this team.
I believe this would be the 9th shutout in 13 matches for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, that's huge. They make it very hard on their opponents and just limiting their opportunities on goal.
And that's where I think this match today puts into contrast how difficult it might be to play this Arkansas team. You know they don't give up much. And as I tried to visit with the coach this week, just quite frankly, they don't give up many shots. Vanderbilt has had 6 shots all match. But if Arkansas can poke some early goals in, then you realize what a steep climb it's going to be.
Yeah, Coach told us at half they came out good early and they were really strong, and they were strong also in the start of the second half.
That one will roll away with 10 minutes to play. See a little bit of that fatigue right there.
On your feet, make some noise, Razorback fans. It's time for another Razorback corner kick.
Well, an opportunity that goes by the boards.
I think the sun was in Kate Devine's eyes on that one when she came out, hoping to punch the ball away.
In for the Razorbacks, number 17, Shannon Flynn, and number 6.
Coaching always continues.
In for number 26, Ryna Hunter, and number 3, Kylie Green.
More bodies down. That's Cutshaw. I feels like she has been on the field 5 or 6 times. I mean, she has laid it all out there today.
I think the Vanderbilt and Arkansas girls collided, and both had some head touching each other. I mean, I just hope they're both okay.
See that brace on the left leg for Peyton to begin with, and then we saw that replay earlier of when she hit her neck or head hard on the field after getting up in the air and kind of losing her balance and then landing hard. Can't see which Razorback there that is down with 8:41 to go. I think that's B. Franklin. B's had a couple of shots that she's taken.
Yeah, these collisions, you have to take them very, very seriously.
Coach Hale called B. Franklin the heartbeat of the team the other day. And I would imagine one of the reasons why he said that was just the toughness that she exhibits, in addition to leadership. Seattle native and Notre Dame transfer. Getting a hug there from Coach Hale is going to help her off to the sideline. And I think that might be it for B today. She's played a lengthy match in this second of the weekend. Let's take one more look. See these bodies getting tangled up.
Yeah, looks like their
Got 'em
heads
both?
collided
Yeah,
there.
their heads collided.
Yeah, Bo literally laid it out on the line this entire game, so glad she's getting some rest.
Devine with the catch, and then she took another shot. She's been out a few times in traffic, going up to grab that cross and try and maintain hold on that ball. Arkansas has outshot Vandy 13-6. Scored the Commodores 3-0. Sounded like that one ended up in our crowd mic. Arkansas had the one goal from DiFilippo, handles it now on that win at Florida. He scored early, and then that was it in the 1-0 win against the Gators. 2 early goals today. One came in the first couple of minutes of our second half for this 3-0 cushion.
That was the Razorbacks' first ever win in Florida.
How about that? Just seems like there's a few teams in that other division that the Razorbacks do not play on a regular basis. Nonetheless, as Coach Hale mentioned, it was history. We'll celebrate that. We'll put that feather in our cap, getting the first win against the Gators.
Coach Hale's motto is celebrate for 5 minutes and then focus on the next.
That's it?
Yep.
Then it's
That's
jump
all
in the
you get.
ocean, right? Jump, go to the beach. And
recover.
I might at least take a half an hour, 45 minutes. Nearing the 6-minute mark. DiFilippo tripped. Looks like she's okay. I think that was McLaughlin. She went up and over. Vanderbilt has had 6 offsides today, maybe just trying to generate some runs towards Grace Barber to get some scoring chances. More bodies down. I think both of these teams will be happy when these final 5+ minutes runs off the clock. It's a lot of traffic and a lot of congestion. Substitutions will continue. Berman in for Pottigill. Burzin will replace Tankersley, who had one of the 3 goals. I think their day is done. A quick handshake from the head coach on their way to the sideline. Amber Wynn out for Vanderbilt. Van Dyke places her for the Commodores. 4 minutes to play. Next home match for the Razorbacks will be on October the 20th when LSU comes to Fayetteville. The only other home match beyond that will be Kentucky on October 27th. So we'll get to that conference tournament at the very end of the month. Early in November. certainly the play of Grace Barbara and the back line, getting Bree Hunter, for example, back in the mix as well, continues to bolster this team's defense to where 2 goals might be a magic number in a lot of the matches that they play. If they score 2, their chances of winning are skyrocketing high.
I think for this Vanderbilt team today, I talked a lot about how Arkansas' style of play is hard to adapt to, and I think that's unfortunately just what happened to Vanderbilt today. Arkansas came out of the gate really strong, and it's the chaos that belonged to Vandy today that they couldn't adapt because of Arkansas's play.
And I got to believe, as we talk about playing 2 matches in a week, that Thursday-Sunday mix, that getting Arkansas on the second end of that is even less desirable than playing them on a Thursday. On the road on a Sunday, when you've come off a match, maybe traveled on Saturday, have 1 day of real practice on Friday, doesn't leave a lot of time.
Yeah, when I asked Coach Ambrose, what can you do to prepare for Arkansas and just 1.5 days to practice? And he said, you can't. You have to just focus on recovery, because at this point in the season, too, you don't want to injure your team.
No, that's a good point. You know, recovery is such a part of the process, as we've talked about, and will continue to be as we get deeper into the conference slate and get towards the conference tournament. And I got to believe more so than ever in those conference tournament, where there is a little bit of time between games, but not much. I mean, that is a busy week if you continue to play well and win. Probably nothing else like it, right? Maybe going back to your youth soccer days might be the only thing that could compare.
Very true, but that's also just the level of play, collegiate Division I soccer in the SEC.
Skip by right by Brighton and Barbara, nearing the 1-minute mark.
There's 1 minute to play.
Well, the competition continues. My goodness, this has been a flurry in the last 30 seconds. Hogs in no hurry, with the final seconds ticking away.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Another shutout for Grace Barbara and the Razorbacks as they blank Vandy 3-0. Pottigill, Tankersley, and B. Franklin combined in a hat trick of goals, and the Hogs win their 10th of the season.
Yeah, huge day for Grace Barbara there. 41 saves total, 8 shutouts, 5 back-to-back shutouts. I mean, what a resume.
Continuing to bolster that, gets a handshake as well from some of the Commodores and even her head coach, Colby Hale. That's a full-fledged hug from Coach Hale.
Yeah, he should be very proud of her, and Grace should be very proud of just the confidence and the poise that she has for this team in the back.
18 straight wins for the Razorbacks at home. That mark since 2016 has been an impressive one, to say the least. Got a big road trip coming to Alabama on the 14th. We'll be back on October the 20th when LSU comes to town to see if they can win another at home. For Kelly Rolliard and our entire crew, I'm Brett Dolan, thanking you for tuning in. The Razorbacks get 2 early goals.